back to Cyberspace Investigations. The PS5 has been out for a bit, and what better way to celebrate than not buying a new game at all? Just play this little pack-ins right here. I mean, it's probably not a big deal. Oh my god, the realism! Astro's Playroom, released alongside the PS5 as a pack-in launch title. Now I have the very distinct honor here of being able to talk about the completionist experience. I've platinumed this game, and that means I've gotten every single collectible in the game, and every single hidden trophy. So this is a platformer. Sony hasn't made many platformers since mild disappointment. I was slightly skeptical when this was announced. It's made by Team Asobi, which at that point I only knew for Astro Bot Rescue Mission, a kind of poster game for PSVR and the first in this, I guess, kind of franchise-ish thing. So when this was announced, I was slightly worried that it wasn't going to be much of a good game. Again, Sony isn't exactly known for platformers or pre-built games being that interesting. The Playroom on PS4 was fairly bland with not much going for it. Now with Astro, that is completely different. This game is oozing with charm, references, and a clear love and respect for PlayStation history. They even went out of their way to make sure stuff like Crash Bandicoot and the Buster Sword made it in, despite those being only loosely tied to the PlayStation branding. I think almost every major PlayStation franchise has representation. It's an incredible celebration we haven't seen before, and it really shows how much Team Asobi really cared, and I am thankful for that. But this is an actual game and not just a showcase. As something I was going to be playing for a while, I wanted this to be a very good platformer with proper jumping physics and good level design, and I'm very pleased to say that's how it is. We've got 4 worlds here, with 4 levels in each world. 2 of the levels in the worlds are reserved for a gimmick, while the other 2 are pure platforming. Along with that, there's 2 more levels dedicated to speedrunning for the setting and gimmick of each level. This rounds out at 25 levels plus a hub world which has enough secret platforming. It's more challenging than some of the other levels. Each one tests a different skill, at least at a basic level. The first general world you should go to, Cooling Springs, is very easy. The first area in Cooling Springs, Bot Beach, is very simple, but the real challenge comes from exploring a fairly large area to find all of the collectibles. This is a theme in different parts of the game too. Once you're through the first stage, the first gimmick comes into play. It's a frog suit that makes use of all of the features within the DualSense controller. Moving the controller left and right feels like metal is crunching inside, and when you press down either R2 or L2, it really feels like a spring is being compressed in there. It's absolutely surreal. But the most interesting part about this stage is how fast it can be beat. With something that sounds as clunky as that, you would think these sections would take a really long time, but no, these sections get done really fast so you can move on to the next normal Astro section. The next section is ice-based. This is all happening inside of a PS5, so this is inside of the massive heatsink inside of the core of the PS5, so making it an ice level is genius. Of course, there is ice physics at play. No, not ice physics! Well, these are actually really good ice physics. There are plenty of tiny platforms to quickly jump across, and this is a really solid level. Plenty of secrets too. Many of the areas in this level are open domes, with multiple side areas set aside from the main path. And once through a river of ice with moving platforms, you're in the final level of Cooling Springs, another frog suit level. This one is harmless, though much longer and more challenging than the first level, but again, not something that gets in the way of enjoyment of the rest of the game. At the end of that level, you get none other than the PS3. Once you're done with that, some ominous shapes appear in the plaza. No, not shapes! Well, this is just one of the levels to beat, so let's go on to the second one in terms of difficulty, GPU Jungle. This level is quite interesting. It's definitely the most graphically intense and has a lot of stuff going on. The Render Forest is the first stage here, and it's a basic platformer, as to be expected from the first stage of each level. The music here is pretty great. There's 1 or 2 enemy types not seen in the first level, but all of them are taken down in one of 3 ways: punching them, pulling their cord, or hitting them with your foot beams. The second stage introduces a new gimmick, the monkey suit. This one is interesting because it makes use of the adaptive triggers in a way I haven't seen anywhere else yet. There is resistance, but only after a little pressing, and that no resistance area is a completely different input, only used in a few side areas. It's really intuitive, and I think it shows the potential of the new controller features the best, way more than any of the other gimmicks. The third stage gives us the bow and arrow, which is used for the first of 3 boss fights in Astro's Playroom. It looks kinda like the quantum masks from Crash 4. To beat it, you gotta do some dodging and some aiming with the bow, and because the only one hit Astro can take almost 100% of the time, you've gotta be really careful when dodging the projectiles. Either way, it's 3 hits and then you're off to the next part, which is more monkey. After that, you get the PS4 and it's time to move on to Memory Meadow, which I found to be a nice level with some very tight platforming, some nice gimmicks, and the ball rolling stage, which was easy, though I didn't get tired of it when I went back for 100%. The main thing in the first stage is wind, which is constantly trying to blow you off course. Other than that, it's one of the better built levels in the game. In terms of console order, this one houses the PS1, so if you're trying to do it in console order, this comes first. Finally, we reach SSD Speedway as the final level. This is a stylized gauntlet of rocket ship levels, paragliding, machine gun action, all wrapped into the most challenging level in the game. We get the second boss fight here, which you fight as the rocket ship. The controls in the rocket are slightly annoying, but I found that overall, while it's not a great boss, it was the most complex one out of the 4 main stages. With all 4 stages done, a new portal opens up in the hub, which takes us to the final level. I won't spoil the final boss, but it's pretty crazy and a great callback to the PS1. Now, the final bit of content left are the speedrunning stages. I saved these for last, and they are what I would consider the best Astro stages, hands down. It's just a pure linear obstacle course, nothing janky, simply great. I've tried to get a world record on one of these courses and gotten within 6 seconds of it on the Space Run course, but I'm not the best and I don't know where to cut down time. But that's only half of the speedrunning courses. The other half of the speedrunning courses are short gimmick-oriented stages featuring the other modes besides Astro. These are harmless and pretty short, at least compared to the normal speedrunning stages. Now let's talk about those collectibles. Each section of the levels holds 4 puzzle pieces and 2 artifacts, plus 1 more at the end of the full level. These puzzle pieces can be really easy to find or pretty challenging and out of the way. I am ashamed to say that I used game help for this, but honestly, some of these were really out of the way, and I was using built-in help, and it didn't feel as dirty as looking up an online guide. What I did look up an online guide for was the trophies. Now, I do realize that you can now actually, on the PS5, unhide hidden trophies, but some of these trophies are absolutely ridiculous. Because of the wonderful invention of hidden trophies, what better way to spend an afternoon than flailing around an entire game trying to find the one spot you don't even know you have to shoot 5 bunnies in, which is very well hidden and not fun to find. Now again, I am going to say you can unhide the hidden trophies, but it's not an option they generally give you in a very easy to find place. So because of that, I felt no shame, and at this point, I had already finished the PlayStation Labo, the place where all the collectibles go in the hub. The fact hidden trophies exist is just another rabbit hole to go down, but let's just say these would not be very easy without a location guide. Beyond that, the completionist experience here is very pleasant, as there's not much that actually becomes frustrating to deal with.
But honestly, as a pack-in for the PS5, this is a fantastic game. I wouldn't have had anything else packed in with the system because the branding and everything just feels like PlayStation. Well, that's all I've got for this one. See you next week for another great program.